What if we could install a new operating system for the entire planet? It sounds like science fiction, I know, but that's the ambitious idea behind the African Economic and Ecological Modernization Sphere, or EEMS. It's a framework that proposes a totally radical new way to tackle our world's biggest challenges. And today, we're going to break it all down. At the very heart of EEMS is this one powerful question. Just think about it for a second. What if our biggest problems could actually become our greatest assets? What if all that excess carbon in our atmosphere could be turned into the raw material for a massive global restoration? Now, to really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem. And the EMS framework argues that what we're facing isn't just a series of small issues, is a total system failure. This quote right here, it just nails the diagnosis. It suggests that climate change, resource instability, these aren't isolated problems we can solve one by one. Nope, they're all just symptoms of one single fundamental flaw. We've been treating our economy like it's totally separate from the natural world that, keeps us all alive. So if the problem is a completely broken system, where on earth do you even start to fix it? Well, the EEMS framework begins not with some complex machine, but with a simple piece of biology. That's right, the biological engine for this entire system is a tree. But believe me, this isn't just any tree. It's the product of years of incredibly careful selection, designed from the ground up to be the starting point for both ecological and economic restoration. Meet the Kajornphuwapong tree. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand is how it was developed. This is not a GMO. It's the result of something called intensive natural selection, which is basically a super-focused, high-speed version of selective breeding. For 4 generations, they took only the fastest-growing, most robust trees and cross-pollinated them, locking in all their best traits. And the results are just staggering. Under peak research conditions, a single one of these trees can produce up to 1 ton of biomass in just 3 years. To put that in perspective, that is a growth rate that is almost unheard of for any fast-growing tree species. It's incredible. But here's the thing, a good system isn't built on best-case scenarios. For real-world projects, the framework uses a much more conservative number. They call it a design basis yield, and it's set at 200 kilograms per tree. This realistic, grounded approach is exactly what makes the whole system feel so reliable and scalable. So we have this amazing tree. How is all that potential actually harnessed? Well, the EMS framework uses a 2-part engine to turn all that biology into real, tangible restoration. Here are the 2 pillars of that engine. It's a great analogy, really. Think of the Emission Zero Global as the system's lungs. It's breathing in all that atmospheric carbon by growing the trees. Then you've got the OASIS, which is the system's heart. It uses a key byproduct to pump life back into the soil. They're 2 halves of a single, beautiful, regenerative cycle. So how do you get from a tree to a restored ecosystem? The key technology here is a process called pyrolysis. Now, it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. You take the harvested biomass, you heat it up in a container with very little oxygen, and this process chemically separates it into 3 incredibly valuable outputs. So what do you get out of this? It's amazing. From that one input of biomass, you get 3 valuable outputs. You get syngas, which can be used to generate clean electricity. You get bio-oil, which is a renewable biofuel. And then you get the real star of the show, biochar. That is the key to this entire system. This quote from the source material really just reframes the whole objective, doesn't it? Unlike a traditional biomass plant, where energy is the whole point, here, the clean energy and biofuel, they're just considered awesome byproducts. The main event, the entire purpose of the operation, is climate restoration. So let's talk about that main event. The real magic, the thing that connects the system's lungs to its heart, is the biochar. And this isn't just regular charcoal. It is a highly porous, incredibly stable form of carbon that can lock away CO2 for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. It is the bridge that allows carbon captured from the air to be permanently put back into the earth. Okay, so now that we've got the engine down, let's zoom out and look at the full blueprint. Because the EEMS is about so much more than just trees and biochar. You see, the whole system is designed to work across 4 different dimensions at the same time. There's the ecological dimension, which we've been talking about. Then there's the economic side, creating real value from all the outputs. You have the energy dimension, generating clean power. And finally, there's a financial sovereignty dimension, which is designed to fund this whole thing in a completely new way. So how is this all funded? Well, this is where it gets really clever. The system is designed to fund itself using something called tokenomics. Think of it like this. Every single ton of carbon you store, or every megawatt of clean energy you produce, is a real-world asset. This system creates digital tokens that represent those physical assets. By selling these tokens, the project can raise money for expansion, all without having to take on traditional debt. So when you put all these pieces together, you've got the biological engine, the restoration process, and this self-funding financial model, the implications, well, they become truly profound. The source material argues that this isn't just another environmental project. It is a new doctrine for global power. This is what's called the final doctrine of the EEMS, and it really is a complete paradigm shift. It argues that we need a new system, not just more little projects. That carbon isn't the enemy. It's a resource we need to manage. It says our most critical infrastructure isn't our roads or bridges, but our soil, water, and forests. And finally, that true power in this century will be the ability to actually restore the planet. And ultimately, this is what it's all about. The goal isn't just to lower CO2 levels in some abstract way. The framework is designed to connect ecological restoration directly to the absolute foundations of a stable society. Things like food security, social stability, and human dignity. By restoring the land, you create the conditions for people to actually thrive. So we'll leave you with this final question from the source material. It really captures the essence of this whole idea. It's a fundamental rethinking of what power and security even mean in our modern world. And it suggests that the future may not belong to those who can conquer, but to those who can restore.